New construction, you're getting ready to start waterproofing for a shower. This is actually a tub hop-up, right?
Indeed.
We have our tub covered very well.
Valve already in place.
Valves in place.
All we need to do now is waterproof.
A new construction like this, where are you going to start?
Well, I'm going to start with checking all my walls to make sure they're level, plumb, even. Make sure they don't rock back here on this wall, because then it'll throw your tile off. And you'll have a lot of lippage on tile, and it'll just make it look bad. But once we get everything straight, put our Curdy board up.
This is your Curdy board. Lightweight. It's a foam board, part of the Schluter system that we use to waterproof. If you're doing an inventory, to make sure you've got everything right. You've got your board. This is your wall board. What else?
My niche.
There's the niche, and this is again a part of that Schluter system, right? All right, and sometimes we build them from scratch, but this is a pre-built.
Already waterproofed. Just got to tape in around the seams, tape and mud around the seams, and on the corners where your board meets. Everything else is already waterproof.
Will you, as you're checking and making sure everything's plumb, level, square, will that go in first?
I will put it in first once I determine
where it
location. And I'll get that information from whoever.
Project manager.
Yeah.
Usually if we're doing it for the homeowner, we try to get them to buy off on the location. But I think they've already done that and established it. Let's talk about some of the products laying in the floor here. We've got our X board up to the shower. We've got the bathtub covered up. You've got your niche. So it looks like you've got two actually. So you've got two niches.
Oh, I do.
Yep. All right. And then
both for this shower, we have to make sure there is another shower on the opposite wall.
Gotcha. And then what do you have there? Some all set?
All set. You can do your waterproofing with this and set your tile with this. Hence the term all set.
All set, right.
Rock and roll after that.
So all set, got your niches, you got your board. Now where's your tape and your stripping, right? Your Curdy bands, basically. Bands. Is that what you call it? The bands.
Yeah. Rock, tape, and mud. You're all set.
Same
Spread
concept.
It on.
Now, but it can rip, right?
I use a knife to cut it. It doesn't rip like sheetrock tape does.
But if you're troweling it, have you ever seen it pull or rip? Schluter Curdy band, 5-inch off Amazon.
It's pretty tough. If you stick it with something sharp, it will puncture it. So you always got to make sure you don't do that. And if you do, you can patch it with the same Curdy band that we use for the corners and just mud it on there. Put a patch.
If there wasn't a tub there, right?
Right.
And we call this a tub hop up, but if there wasn't a tub there, you'd also need what? The little pan system?
The Curdy Schluter shower pan, shower drain flange, and drain grate.
Here's the entire kit on Amazon.com.
And it is pre-sloped for your water drainage. These screws and washer come with the Curdy board to install, so you don't use just any random screws to install it.
I'm assuming stainless steel or something.
Well, we will use the band to patch over them.
Patch over them, gotcha. And it tells you the maximum recommended spacing on here is 12 inches. Little tips. What else do you need? You missing anything?
I think I got everything other than my tools.
Just hanging some Schluter board after we put this wall out.
Why'd you have to do that? Explain what furring out means.
Bring the wall out like 1.25 inches because the tub has that lip on it.
I got you. So this little lip.
The board has to sit up on in front of that. And
gotcha.
It was 1.25 inches away from the tub.
So you furred out the wall so you could bring the Schluter, the Curdy board, down and over that lip.
Yep.
I have measured my bands for my corners to waterproof. I'm now getting them all cut before I mix up my mud.
You cut all your bands at one time? They're all ready?
The big ones, because I got to pull them out to measure them, and I don't have the room in the bathroom, so it's easier
Yeah.
for me to go ahead and get them all cut and ready before I mix up mud. That way it doesn't dry up on me while I'm trying to measure and cut stuff.
Okay.
So I get the big ones cut, and then I will mix up my mud.
What you got there? A little
them
piece
all
of
in.
cardboard where you wrote your numbers down?
And I'm using it to cut against so I don't get into the
scar that
paper.
shell. Where we left off in here.
There's no light in there.
It's new construction. We don't have power, so he doesn't have a good light. This is where we are right now. Already fixed.
Something new yesterday.
Pre-made corners.
I think we're going to be short.
Inside
I've already
corners.
cut all.
How do you want your consistency to be when you're doing this?
For waterproofing, you want it a little thinner than you do for setting tile. It's not too loose, but definitely not too tight either. And I don't recommend using a battery drill.
This is what we're working with, no worries.
We have limited power out here. So that's good, but I want more. Since I'm using a battery drill, make it more loose first, add more mix as I go. That way I don't burn up my drill. And the Schluter offset requires 5 minutes of mixing, and then you let it slate, rest for 10 minutes,
Got it.
and then remix for 3 minutes.
Let it set up for a few minutes.
When you're putting your band on,
Yep.
you
got
want to first spread on your mud with a flat side of a trowel or like a sheetrock mud knife, whatever works. Spread it on first with your flat side.
We're in the dark. I love your little headlamp.
You gotta be able to see.
That's right. You're hitting your seams, and then this is your bed, right? So this is what you're going to use for bedding your tape.
Yes, but after we apply this with your flat knife, you're gonna take your Curdy trowel. I believe this is a 1/8 or 3/64.
So this is an actual Curdy trowel too.
Yes, there's
Branded.
Dietra.
Gotcha. Dietra. Yep.
There's Dietra and there's Curdy. There's a
It's all in
small.
the same family.
Right. Then you trowel it. Then you put your tape on. And then again, flat side of your knife, and you'll smooth it out and squeeze out any excess.
Now, how thick did you put on that bed coat?
Well, I
Is
just
there
put a bunch because when you trowel it with your notch trowel, it will essentially, it gauges how much is left behind.
Gotcha. Follow and subscribe for more.